The linear trade flows of past decades relied on a single, fragile assumption that the world would remain frictionless. In 2026, that assumption is retired. Trade is currently reorganizing around politically aligned regional blocs, a process known as selective reglobalization. Every supply chain built exclusively for the lowest unit cost now carries a massive, unpriced systemic risk. Geopolitical friction has made hyper-efficiency a liability. Three vectors define the trade landscape of 2026. First, severe policy and tariff whiplash. Second, ongoing freight capacity paradoxes. And finally, critical mineral refining choke points. The competitive advantage now belongs to operators who trade slight cost premiums for extreme operational resilience. The disruption began with a surge of front-loaded shipments in 2025 as firms scrambled to beat incoming tariffs and created a chaotic stop-start shipping rhythm. This line graph shows the result. According to KPMG forecasts, the U.S. effective tariff rate climbed sharply to peak at 13% in early 2026. This entire tax structure rests on a pending Supreme Court review. The justices are weighing the legality of using emergency powers to levy current tariffs. Major importers are already deploying legal countermeasures, filing protective lawsuits with the Court of International Trade. These filings are designed to secure full refunds if the court eventually strikes down the executive orders used to impose the duties. While the legal process moves forward, the immediate impact is visible in compressed margins and localized inflation as tariff costs pass through the supply chain. This level of policy unpredictability makes long-term capital allocation impossible, forcing firms to rely on agile third-party logistics networks to absorb the volatility. While tariffs stress the borders, the domestic freight market is trapped in a paradox. Soft demand has created a temporary shippers market, defined by excess capacity. This shipment index chart shows the scale of the slowdown. Multimodal volumes have plummeted to lows not seen since the 2009 financial crisis. The overlay shows the primary driver. High interest rates stalled the housing market, suppressing the movement of durable goods. However, a black swan labor threat is currently developing. The FMCSA has issued an emergency rule targeting commercial driver's licenses held by non-U.S. residents. This rule would instantly revoke up to 200,000 licenses, removing a massive layer of trucking capacity from the network overnight. Although a federal court has issued an administrative stay, the rule remains a suspended guillotine over the logistics market. If this capacity is legally revoked just as consumer demand rebounds, the industry will experience a total failure of existing routing guides. Shippers who relied on the current excess capacity would see spot rates hyperinflate in a matter of hours. In the technology sector, the surge in AI development requires a massive build-out of data center infrastructure. That expansion depends on a trade truce between the U.S. and China that is scheduled to expire in November 2026. China currently holds a near-total monopoly on the refining of specific critical minerals, including 99% of the global supply of gallium. This refining choke point threatens to stall the production of the advanced chips and sensors required for AI hardware. While the US and EU are investing in recycling and domestic extraction, these efforts are not yet operating at a commercial scale. For most critical minerals, recycling can only fulfill between 5 and 20% of the surging global demand. Despite these risks, several Western firms continue to sell their stakes in major mining projects to Chinese state-owned entities to satisfy short-term shareholder demands. Without rapid development of alternative refining infrastructure, the impending November 2026 deadline could completely halt the global AI build-out. To counter these pressures, Mexico has become the top U.S. trade partner, leveraging the USMCA to bypass trans-Pacific volatility. Nearshoring allows firms to trade slightly higher regional labor costs for 2 to 5 day overland transit, avoiding 40% tariffs on Asian goods. Infrastructure is also adapting in the Gulf region, where major hubs are diversifying their handling capabilities. Ports like Jebel Ali are currently handling record volumes of breakbulk and specialized cargo to support regional industrial growth. Managing these fragmented, multinodal geographies has become a task far beyond the reach of manual logistics. Leading operators are deploying artificial intelligence for predictive analytics and real-time capacity matching across the entire shipping lifecycle. Digital twin simulations now allow teams to stress test redundant supply chains against geopolitical shocks before they happen. Physical nearshoring is only effective when combined with the automated visibility required to orchestrate these complex networks. By 2026, global trade has moved through an irreversible rewiring of its foundational circuits. The goal is a Hydra model of operations. When a single supply node is severed, regenerative, redundant capacity must instantly bypass the break. Executive leadership must accept permanent friction as a structural reality and stop waiting for a return to 2019 conditions. The strategy for 2026 relies on three absolute mandates: optimize for resilience, buffer for policy shocks, and deploy automated visibility. In this landscape of selective re-globalization, operational resilience has become the primary driver of enterprise value.